Shamai, Elite Dangerous Chums and Pobble. Welcome to a video all about laser mining with the brand new Panther Clipper Mark II. It is top tier and I think it is better than the cutter. But is it better to replace the cutter? Probably not. It all depends on your perspective. But it's a mighty fine vessel for laser mining, that thing is certain. So I'm going to show you the customization first, and then we're going to do some actual laser mining and show you how it performs in the field to help you make your decision. But it is only available for ARX, that's the elephant in the room. So is it worth it for that? It's only you can answer that question. So let's do some customization to the max. If we go through to outfitting now and look at the core internals, you can see it's got the standard lightweight heavy duty armor on the lightweight alloy with deep plating you want there. Power plant, overcharged 7A power plant, G3. And if you don't have any engineering unlocked altogether, you could use an 8A or an 8B, whatever works for you. But this is an engineered build, so we're going to talk about it from that perspective. Dirty drive tuning on the thrusters, G5 with drag drive, standard, you need that for any big ship. Frame shift drive is debatable, gone 7A, engineered increased range G5 mass manager, but you could do a 7D unengineered version if you are selling in the same system that you're mining in. It's all up to you. Life support, we've got MISC lightweight G1, it could be G3 or G5 even, but I figure it's not going to make much difference with the mass we're talking about of this big ship. Power distributor is more important, so we've got weapon focused G5 power distributor with super conduits. This is only effective for laser mining, so if you're going to build a mixed build, then you could get away with doing, well, it's going to be a mighty fine build all the same if you do charge enhanced G5 super conduits, so no problem if you want to go for it if your heart is not in this being 100% a laser miner only, but you're going to need that either way to power the amount of mining lasers you're going to have. So bear in mind, if you're not going to G5 your distributor, then don't put 4 mining lasers on it, put 3 on, or only test it with 3, see what works for you. Sensors, if I've got a 5D long range sensor, I could go G3 on this just to see pirates coming from a mile away, really. That's the only reason, because I'm going to use it in HAZ-reses at times as well, potentially. Or am I? Actually, I'll probably use the Anaconda or the Corvette because they're far better in HAZ-reses. But if you wanted to use it in a HAZ-res, you want to see the pirates coming. Let's look at the optional internals. The Panther Clipper brings you the Mark II cargo racks, so that is enhanced. It's got magic fairy dust, so notice the 8D has 384 rather than 256 as standard, and the 7D has 192 rather than 128. So that gives us a massive, absolutely massive 732 cargo capacity. It's equivalent to a almost like a shieldless cutter build, not even a mining build. That's how crazy it is. The cutter equivalent though will give you 512 cargo, so it gives you a hell of a lot more cargo. For that reason, it's better than the cutter, and also from a limpet perspective, which is less of a thing, I really think. But I've got a 7C multi-limpet controller to give me eight, count them, 8 collector limpets. It also allows me to fix the ship as well with the repair limpets. Collector limpet controllers, 5D, you've got 3 of those, just like my cutter build. Gives us 9 collector limpets total off those 3, so it gives us 17 limpets in total for the whole thing, the whole shebang. So 17 limpets. Bear in mind, for 2D mining lasers, you need 3 to 3.5 per mining laser, so that gives us 12 is the optimum, so it's 5 more than the optimum, but I'd argue that for beginners at least it will help them out a lot more. But the cutter's also only 4 less than that, so 1 more than the optimum on the cutter. So the cutter is probably equivalent. It all depends on how close you get to the rocks, basically, to make those collector limpets enhanced or effective. Prospector limpet control, you've got a 5A unit, gives us 4 more than you'll ever need. Realistically 2 to 3 is enough, but it's an A rated unit. You want to make sure you use A-rated because it'll give you more yield off your asteroids. Whereas if you don't, make sure you don't bind the 7C unit because that'll give you a C-rated prospector limpet. I mean, you could use a 7A multi-limpet controller if you wanted, I suppose. What else have we got? We've got a refinery 4A to give us a bin count of 10, which is far more than you're going to need if you're optimized. But if you're not optimized, by optimized I mean I'm going for gold, things that are worth gold and above for my platinum laser mining. But if you go silver and above, that's still fine for a lower unit. But basically, it's a 4 unit, so put a 4A refinery in there, why not? Also, detailed surface scanner. This will allow you to scan the rings to find the hotspots, so don't forget that one. Shield, prismatic shield. So I would go, you don't need to engineer it if you are never going to go near a HASRES. That's going to be where you're going to struggle. But with any build, safety first, I've gone G3 reinforced, but you want high cap as well with a prismatic, or you could use a standard 6A shield, but it's all about shield strength. Honestly, just put the biggest, don't go bi-weave, put the biggest shield you can afford basically, and engineer it as much as you possibly can. Shield boosters, for the same reason, you've got heavy duty shield boosters G2, and 2 of them. You could argue for 3 of these bad boys rather than 2 heatsink launchers, but I got 2 heatsink, which is probably more than you're going to need. Point defenses, you want, I go for 2 every time, but you could argue 1, but what that is on the bottom, either way, put it on the bottom of your ship to make sure you're protected against hatch breaker limpets from pirates who interdict you or attack you in a HASRES. Weapons, so mining lasers, you've got 4 2D mining lasers. The 2D is the best in the game, but with a 7A distributor, 4 is the maximum, the optimum. By all means try 5 if you don't believe me, but I would put 5 on an 8A distributor, as in the Anaconda or the Corvette, which are much better speed miners than this, or the Cutter. What else have we got? Mining laser. Now, most of my testing has been without this particular mining laser because I understand not everyone's unlocked it. But check the description to see how to unlock the Torville pre-engineered mining laser. It gives you long range, but ignore that. The real good thing that it offers is less distributor draw than the standard 1D unit. Do not put the standard 1D unit in here, it will not be effective compared to 2D. Put an extra 2D if you want to, but not a 1D. But most of my testing has been without that, but it would speed things up, and I think it is very efficient, as I will show you. Defenses. I've gone the standard beam laser multi-cannon defenses. The one thing I've done which I think is a mistake is I've gone gimbaled. If you're facing an eagle, gimbaled isn't good enough, unfortunately. So do put a turreted version and do engineer them if you can afford the materials. And of course you've got multi-cannons and lasers in down here as well. With one of the multi-cannons, do put corrosive in on your gimbaled chum and bind that to everything to make sure it enhances the lasers and the multi-cannons. So that's the multi-cannons and your defences. Let's go and do some mining. Right. Let's do some mining. So here's one I prospected earlier, and you got 40% platinum in this little chum. So flicking on the laser miners, you can see with 4 2D mining lasers, they are quite well dispersed, more akin to the T9 than the Cutter. The Cutter has a bit of more focused kind of beams, more central, so for that reason the Cutter's a bit better. For sure, but I never had any problems getting these beams on target, even from distance, so I'm a bit closer in there. We've got a bit of overheating there, just because I probably carried on a little bit longer than I should have with the beams. But notice the collector limpets are having no problem gathering in those platinum portions for sure. Now, I am mining in Deneb, which is a single platinum hotspot. So bear that in mind throughout this kind of video, which is why I'm not getting the yields that you'd get in a HASRES or something like that, because this is what I've done all my testing. So I'm comparing to the Cutter, so I'm doing exactly the same hotspot as I used for the Cutter. So looking at the lasers, again, they're honed in nicely. The particles are going to the south towards the cargo hatch a lot better, should be more efficient when it's doing that, so it should have no problems with all those collector limpets cracking off. I should say the the collection limpets are on the same trigger as the mining lasers to make sure I replace them if they do hit the hull, which I tend to do when I'm moving around trying to find the next target. So we got a 48% out there, but I'm going to hit another target there with a prospector limpet while I'm on my way. Now this is about 2.8 kilometers away, which is not a problem really. Put the cargo scoop up. I don't tend to use boost. I could boost and hit the rock, which would speed things up a bit, but you know, I think that's just a bad kind of practice really, because I just don't like it. It's like, is that a move, by the way, boosting in the laser mining? Drop your comment down below if you've got a top tip for it of laser mining a bit better. Now on this one I got a bit confused because the left hand laser isn't showing, because I think it's clipping into the rock. But it is actually hitting the target, as you will see from the minerals decaying on the left hand side there. So we got no problems except for not lowering the cargo scoop, and again it's another very good yield, and we can find some more targets. You can also find with your prospector limpets, you can hit the targets when at full tilt. That's not a problem whatsoever. I didn't lose any from hitting the hull of the ship. So it's very good. There's no problems with prospector limpets on this vessel. Now this is the 5 laser build. So look to the bottom there, you can just about see the Torville mining laser. So what it will do, it will heat up a lot quicker, but it will drain the rock of its minerals a lot quicker as well. And using 4 pips to weapon on both these solutions, you'll just about overheat right at the end, you see. That's the main difference there. Well, looking at the external view, you can see the top lasers are set back a little bit, but there's really no problem in getting them to hit the rock at all. Because it's quite a condensed unit. The main thing to take into account on this kind of video from the external view is the collector limpets seem to go right through the hull. I'm not sure why. That may have happened before, but I really can't remember. But that's an interesting fact there. Going to the sail. Then the main thing here is looking that we get 363 platinum over the course of exactly, well, 1 hour and 1 minute roughly. And that did a little bit better than the equivalent cutter build, but I think maybe it's just that I'm a bit more effective rather than that it is super better. So, but it did seem a bit better. But on average, that's the way it should be because you have more collector limpets. So if you're not highly skilled at aligning your collector limpets, then you will find you'll get a better platinum per hour rate than the equivalent cutter build because you're making use of those collector limpets. So for that reason it's better, but that's not going to be a consideration, I really don't think, for if you're ultimately replacing it, as in buying this thing for ARX. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd say stick with the cutter because they are equivalent. I'd have to say you'd have to be working out there for about 3 hours or more, or perhaps even just over 3 hours to fill up with 832 cargo. So that is a big ask for anybody, but you could cut it out. So for that reason, 512 might be good enough for you. Also, the other thing as well is that the cutter is only available once you get to Duke rank. So once this is available for credits, then there's no reason not to buy this rather than doing the Duke grind. So I think it would work out well. But also, we need to take into account the cost. So the Panther Mark II will cost you 630 million for this build, roughly. Whereas the cutter will cost you only 521 million. They're both expensive, let's face it, but if you have the credits, then I see no reason not to choose the Panther Mark II over the cutter as a laser miner if you're building it for the very first time. But by all means, test your own builds before dedicating yourself to a laser miner. But I hope that you found this video quite useful. I've got another video on view from the bridge to show you the internal of the ship a little bit more than what I just showed you there, to see what it looks like in VR, but the bridge is very good and worth it. But I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any comments or tips on laser mining, then do drop them down in the comments to help us all out to improve and become better. Thank you very much for watching, and have a most excellent day if you're playing Elite Danger Ray.